Now, as someone who's been using the Traveler's Notebook leather system for over 10 years, I do have my fair share of favorites. However, I'm going to share with you my favorite DIY Traveler's Notebook system and show how easy it is. All right. First, you're going to go to Michael's if you are based in the US. They have a very teeny tiny leather section. Every location is different, so you might find yours in the back corner. That's where I typically find the leather at my Michael's. It's usually off on the right hand side of the store in the very, very back, like the last 3 or 4 aisles. Right here, we are going to look for this brown leather, okay? I'll link it in my description as well. This leather is very, very comparable to the Traveler's Company, also formerly known as Midori notebook. Very beautiful leather, and they also have the black version. This is very, very comparable to the Traveler's Company black as well. So one thing that I would suggest is trying to find these in your store if you can, because then you can really get a feel for the floppiness. You can get a leather piece that doesn't have any scuffs, because sometimes if you order them online, you never know what you're going to get. So next, make sure you also get like some type of punch set, leather punch set, which you can also pick up at Michael's or your local like craft store. So now that we have our leather and our hole punch, another thing that you're going to need is elastic, because the elastic band is what we're going to use for our inserts. And then you're going to need a hammer, because the hammer is going to be what you're going to use to punch in the eyelets or the holes for your elastic. But today we are going to make a pocket size. So I'm showing you how I went about doing this. And one thing that I find interesting is that they staple this on here, which I don't think is very wise. They should put it in some type of maybe some type of plastic hold or seal. But luckily the piece that I'm going to use won't require the punched staples, so I'm just going to remove this. In the past, I've had really I really enjoyed making different sizes. This isn't my first rodeo. I have the B6 Slim in this size. I have made a passport with this leather, and today I'm showing you the pocket size. So here you can see there's like the holes that are left, but if you just use it on the back side, it won't make a difference. Now for this specific leather, I'm going to show you right here. This is by the Midori brand, or now they have rebranded it and it's called Traveler's Company. But you see, look how comparable this brown is. This is a passport on the right hand side. It's patinaed nicely throughout the years. This is over 10 years old. I got this in 2013. And this one, well, actually, I got them both at the same time in New York City at the Kinokuniya Japanese store. But look at this. The one right here on the far right, that's from Michael's. And if you scratch it, you can see the scratches look like just like the one on the left, the Midori brand. And it scuffs out pretty nicely. So I like this leather because it's not too oily, but it's not too dry. It's just right for my preference. So definitely encourage you to check out this leather if you're interested. If you don't cut down this leather though, you can make this like an A5 slim kind of. It's wider than your traditional Traveler's Company size. And here you can see this is a finished product. I literally didn't have to cut this down. I just punched in the inner holes, used some what's this, cement glue? I use like some cement glue here, and this is too secure. I didn't want it to tie the knot, and I just secured it like that. So you can see right here, it's exactly the same size. So if you don't want to cut it down, you can just do a full-size Traveler's Notebook. This is the elastic that I'm using. You can find this on Amazon, your craft store. I've had this for years. It's lasted me a long time, and it matches very, very well with this brown. So with this pocket size, I am doing a specific dimension. I'm going to do 9 inches across. So in the width, 9 inches. I marked it here with my little pencil because again, I don't want the end where it has those staples. And then I'm going to do 6 inches in the height, so 9 by 6. And you guys, this process is very, very easy. You just get a ruler, mark where you want to cut, get your razor, or surprisingly scissors. Okay, if you have like those crafty was it the Fiskars scissors or those craft scissors, this leather is pretty soft and you can cut through it pretty thin as well. So you're just gonna use your tools, your cutting tool, mark it, and then it's really such a simple process. I'm really romanticizing this process at this time because so many of you guys have messaged me on Instagram wanting a step-by-step, and I've explained in my other videos how to do this, but I get it. I totally understand. Some of you are visual learners. I'm a visual learner too. So I thought I would just do this video today to show you just how simple it is to make your own Traveler's Notebook cover. If I can do it, you certainly can do it. The process is very easy, and this took me less than an hour to do. Now, once you have your preferred size cut out, you're also going to want to think about how many elastics do you want, like the inner cords do you want for your cover. Do you just want 1? Do you want 2? Do you want 3? Right? So that's something that you want to know ahead of time. And prior to cutting this, which I didn't explain, but I already know which inserts, which pocket inserts I'm going to use for this cover. So I got I think it was like 2 or 3 inserts, which I will have a full setup coming up after this video, but I molded this leather to those inserts. So that's how I got this dimension of 9 by 6, because it's going to be a little chunky, and I need it to fit all of the inserts. This is just a visual of it can fit this pen and gear, and look how thick. Speaking of thick, the Daily Pocket Moleskin notebook. So see, if I wanted to, I could use that. So you definitely want to know which inserts you want to use. This is how it looks in compared to the passport size. It actually hugs it all the way around, and it's slightly taller. So now that you have that leather piece cut out, we're going to get that hole punch tool. For me, I don't get I'm using, I think, the second to smallest eyelet right here, see, because that's where it's going to thread through. So I don't want the hole to be too large. I just want it to be enough where I can thread it through. Now, you're going to want to mark it, so get a visual of exactly where you want the elastics to be. This is where you're going to have to think about how do you want your inserts placed, and how it may like with the inserts stacked up against each other, how they'll like lay against each other. So now that I know where I want it, I'm showing you here, you're going to have to hammer it down. I recommend getting some type of plastic cutting board or cardboard, because you don't want to punch through like your kitchen table. Okay, so make sure you have some type of surface where that leather punch can go through, and I'm using like an old plastic cutting board. Now I'm just going through where I marked here. You can see the top and the bottom. Now I'm going to go with the center. With the Traveler's Company notebook, their hole for like the elastic closure is like kind of off to like the back side. I prefer it in the spine, in the middle, so that way there's no bump distracting me when I'm writing actually down on the notebook itself. Now that we have the holes within the leather, we're going to thread it through with that elastic, and here I am just getting a visual of how much I'm going to need. And then instead of using cement glue or cement contact glue, it's almost like a super glue. You could use super glue, but today I don't have the patience, and this elastic is fairly thin, so when I do tie it in a double knot, it's not going to bulk up or bulge really. And this time I did it, I think, kind of smart, where I tied the knot on the very, very bottom, which you'll see here. It's going to be tied on the very bottom. So when I do thread my insert through, that knot is not going to be in the way. It's going to be out of the way towards the end of the insert. So I have a little bit of elastic left over. That's where you're going to want to just cut any off, or you can leave it on, put some beads on there. It can become a charm if you want it to be, or like a little ribbon. That would be cute, but I'm just cutting it off so it's not in the way. And then ta-da! Now you're going to get that same elastic and you're going to see how much you need for the closure. Do you have a preference on if you need it to be super, super tight? Do you want it to be a little bit loose? So here I'm just wrapping it around how the leather is when it's closed and then snipping it from there. I'm going to do the knot, and I'm going to make sure that the knot is towards the very, very end here. Now once that's established, we're going to thread this elastic through the spine, and because that hole again is not too wide, it may help if you have something to push it through, like what's it called, a paper clip or a safety pin. Here I just have a pencil and it's just kind of helping me thread it through here. And you guys, that is it. Here is your finished product, your own Travelers Company notebook. Did I mention this notebook was only like $12.99? Michael's, I had a coupon for 30% off, and this came out to be like $9. So $9. The elastic, a couple dollars. The hole punch, again, a coupon, $5 or $6. So you really can't beat it. And once you have the tools like the elastic, the hole punch, you can make so many more notebooks. But stay tuned for my setup in the next video.